Well, hey everybody, welcome to Practical Church Planting, where in 15 minutes or less, we'll give you practical tips, advice, and encouragement to help you plant and grow healthy churches. My name is Brian Androsian, and joining me today is Dylan Dodson.
What's up?
And today we're talking about a unique way that'll help launch groups.
So here's the thing. When you start a church, eventually a lot of us people today want to start either community groups, small groups, life groups, whatever you do, whatever you want to call them. The question is, how do you start them, especially when you have so many new people? What do you do? So we're going to share what we did and was really effective. And it's something maybe you may not have heard of, but was really successful for us. And that is something called Dinners for Six. And so here's what Dinners for Six are. Once a month, you put people in groups of six. You recommend that they get childcare. At least that's what we did.
Yep.
And they just change who hosts the group, and it goes for 3 months. So for us, we launched in April. We did this our first summer. We Dinners for Six. Now some groups end up being 8 or 7, depending on, but try to do 6. If you do too much, then it becomes hard to meet with people. So we did this. It worked out really well, and then we launched groups in the fall with way more groups than we would have if we didn't. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what they look like and how they helped for us. So why do Dinners for Six? Here's a couple of reasons why it was really helpful for us. The first one is that dinners are laid back and it's not a big commitment. So having dinner at somebody's house, because here's the thing, when you're a new church, a lot of people don't know each other. It's really hard to say, sign up for a group and commit to a group with people you don't know. It's just hard to do. And so we said, hey, 3 months, once a month, no long-term commitment, and you're just having a meal. No one's having to lead a discussion or to facilitate a group conversation with people they don't know. So it's really easy, it's really laid back, and it doesn't take a commitment, whereas when you start a new group, it takes a lot of commitment.
Right.
It seems very intimidating. And so a lot of people signed up, way more than we think. Here's the second reason why it was so successful, is that people connect really well over a meal. So again, if you have a group discussion, it's kind of like who starts the conversation. We don't know each other, that sort of thing. A meal is like you've got a cup in front of you, you got a meal in front of you. Like people just connect well over meals. Some people have got a friend that says, I don't consider you a friend until I've had dinner with you.
Right.
Because it's relaxing, it's fun.
Yep.
And so it really helps, again, helping new people connect with each other over a meal. And then here's a third reason, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how it worked for us and your thoughts on it. A third reason is that people will sign up for a group when they already have friends. So we did it over the summer. We launched signups at the end of August, early September last year. And then we had like 50% of our church sign up to be in a group about that sort of thing, which would not have happened at all. We maybe would have had 2 groups if we were lucky, maybe 3 groups when we launched in the fall. But instead, because we had multiple groups where people got to know each other, they had dinner with each other, they became friends. We said, hey, we're launching groups in the fall. This is what it's going to look like. People were already like, I know these people. And those that didn't, we could put them in a different group. What was funny, though, everyone that was in a Dinners for Six group ended up making a community group. That's what we call groups here, staying with that group for the rest of the year when we did community groups.
Yep.
So what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, another kind of great thing that ended up happening and that can happen from it is it's a much easier way for people to invite people.
Yes.
It's easy to invite people to your group to say, hey, I'm having, 4 other friends over for dinner. Why don't you come on over? It's laid back, no big deal. And then they come and they'll build relationships with them, maybe go to the next dinner. And then they'll automatically or they'll kind of naturally want to come and be more comfortable coming to church with you because they'll know other people there other than yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge plus. It kind of gives people that are maybe a little nervous to invite people to church an easy way to do so.
Yeah, that's great. Because again, it's not come to my Bible study, come to my group.
Right.
We're just having dinner together.
Yeah.
If you want to come over.
We just
That's
happen
great.
to be from church.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But no, it worked out great for us. We had a lot of people sign up. We had, and like you said, all those dinners groups ended up transforming into our community groups. And we just, especially being, a new church and just having launched it, we really saw relationships form and kind of start there and really have grown ever since because we kind of, it's kind of almost like forcing people to get together because they're not going to on their own.
Right.
So just saying, hey, you're going to have dinner once a month. And nobody complained about groups. So we create the groups ourselves.
Yep.
We kind of do it geographically and kind of who we think will mesh well together. But we create the groups. People don't know who they're with until we tell them. And we got no complaints. People just, if they didn't know anybody, then even
and
better.
especially in the beginning stages of a church when you're like, you've got so much going on. The organization part was really easy. We literally just put them in a group and we assigned we kind of emailed a leader of each group separately, be like, hey, just make sure this is happening. We didn't coordinate when they meet or anything like that. We just said, hey, go for it. So there's no organization. Again, we recommend childcare. So tell people to get childcare so they can actually meet together. And yeah, like you said, inviting friends. Let me give you some numbers because I think sometimes you're like, well, you said a lot of group. What does that mean? So here's what it looked like for us, just practically speaking. We launched in April. We had one group that Christina and I were leading, and it came to like 20 people, and we're like, this is really big. How are we going to like multiply it? Who knows? And it was summertime. And so we thought maybe we would get to 2 groups. So that's what. But then we talked about this Dinners for Six thing. We got an idea from someone who came to our church. And so in the fall, we launched with 5 groups. If we had not done Dinners for Six, we probably just would have had 2, maybe 3.
Yeah,
Instead, we actually had 5 groups. Now the groups were actually bigger than 6 because there's more people that were involved with them. People invite their friends. But there's no way we would have been able to launch in the fall with 5 groups. We would have had 2, maybe 3 if we didn't do this.
Yep.
And so now year 2, it's the summer again. We're doing it again this year. And again, it helps people invite. So we have a new couple at our church that came a few times. And so we invited them to Christina and I's Dinners for Six group. And now they're in the group. They're getting connected, that sort of thing. So again, it's just a really laid back, easy way. Now, if you launch maybe in the fall or in the spring or something like, in the winter and it's like, well, it's not summer, you can still do that. Like you don't have to, it doesn't have to be summer. And I wish we'd done it from day one. We just didn't think of it. Luckily, we're only 3 months in. But this was, I just couldn't recommend enough. I think sometimes when we plant churches, we kind of think we need to have everything set from the beginning. We need to have our group structure, discipleship, and our membership, or all these things set up, and everything needs to be in place, and it doesn't. We need to allow ourselves some grace. And this is just an easy way, not a lot of organization, for people to get together and know each other.
Yeah, and a couple of quick things to add. One good thing about it is, especially when you're launching a church, you got a lot of times you do events or have different things, and they're all focused. They're kind of all focused on the church, and rightfully so. Obviously, you want to get people excited about it, but this gives people a way to meet and kind of build relationships without it being focused on the church itself.
Yeah.
With just the main focus is, hey, have fun, get to know each other. We're not gonna then have someone come in and pitch how you should join the church or whatever. It's just a way to relax and have fun and build relationships. And another thing that is a cool thing that can come of this is you may see and probably will see kind of natural group leaders come out of these. So like when we launch and when churches launch, you'll have kind of your idea of who's going to lead your groups, kind of the people who are in leadership in the church. But if you run groups like we do, where we believe that anyone can be if they want to be, we give them some training, but anyone can lead a group. You kind of see the people who take control of their group and make sure people are meeting and kind of enjoy leading that group discussion and things like that. You can kind of see community group or small group leaders come out of that. They may not have recognized outside.
That's a great point. So when we did Dinners for Six the first year, we were kind of hoping it would lead to more groups in the fall.
Yeah.
But we didn't necessarily think each group that we made would become a group. But that's literally what happened. Each group we made became a group, and there was like a natural leader or a married couple that would for each one, which again would not have happened if we hadn't done Dinners for Six, because they would have the leader wouldn't have known these people. Yep. They wouldn't know each other, and it worked really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wouldn't have known that these people would have wanted to be leaders, because we would have said, here's the people we think are leaders, but other people ended up coming up that we wouldn't have even expected and ended up being great.
Yeah. So again, we did Dinners for Six. That's what we call it. We would recommend to try to do 6. If you do like 8 or 10 people, that becomes really big, especially if it's a new thing.
Yeah.
You can't really get to know everybody. And also, if you automatically put 10 people together, well, then they can't really invite their friends.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is when you're, because how it works is each month a different person or couple hosts, and 6 is not a big deal to host for, but when it gets to 8, 10 people, then especially if that person wants to cook, this becomes kind of a big chore as opposed to just kind of a more relaxed thing.
So to recap, it's a great way for new people to meet together, to build groups. Here's how we did it. 3 months. One person hosts. They rotate each time. It doesn't need to be a fancy meal, and they could go out 1 month. Let's say one person doesn't want to host. So let's say you have 8 people. Well, then one person doesn't host. Not a big deal. So you put them in their groups. You kind of encourage one person to just make sure they coordinate it. But you, as the church leaders, don't do anything. Just say, here's your group. Go for it. Give them a 3-month time span. And then at the last month, we said, hey, we're kicking off groups. Sign up. And we even gave the option, if you would like to stay in your Dinners group, let us know. If you don't, let us know. We're not going to tell them you didn't want to let them know. But just let us know. And I think, again, people would not have signed up, especially if they hadn't done this beforehand, because they wouldn't have known each other.
Totally.
So, hey, that's one tip for you about how a unique way to start groups. Again, we're in summer number 2 at New City. We've done it again. I don't know that we'll do it every year, because the more we do this thing, people know each other. But I definitely recommend it if you're just starting out. It's a really easy way to get people to get groups together. So that being said, thanks for being with us. As always, you can go to practicalplanting.com/questions to submit any question that you want us to answer in any future episode. And until next time, see you later. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Practical Church Planting. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Practical Planting, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, make sure you like or subscribe or do whatever it's telling you to do or should do on that platform.
And hey, if you are so tired of looking at our ugly faces, but you're not tired of listening to our beautiful voices, then you can find our podcast if you just search Practical Church Planting on iTunes or Google Play. Make sure not to just find it, not just to listen, but to subscribe.
Make sure you subscribe. Brian, tell them to subscribe.
Subscribe.
See you next time.